I will somehow try to collect 100 randomly selected coins in Geometry Dash platformer mode. I will have to overcome challenges such as luck, absurd minigames, control 2 icons at once. If that wasn't all, each time I beat a level, there's a 10% chance the levels will increase in difficulty, with every coin collected increasing that chance. Starting off, this level was insanely impressive, as it's a basic working 4 in GD, but I had to test my luck for this coin.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it!
To celebrate, I awarded myself with 3 stars and moons, but it seems I may have downloaded a virus. My bad luck would continue as I was already forced to increase the difficulty to easy levels. The Heights of Joy's Whimsy had some pretty easy coins, the first one requiring 3 mini blue coins, one was high up in the sky, then I committed house robbery just like I do in real life, and planted this vine to reach a blue coin. The last one was inside this hidden wall. Making my way through town, I met a shopkeeper, who sold me a diamond which unlocked the second coin, and they also bragged about 0 crime rate in 10 years. Yeah, about that. Anyways, I was able to beat the level quick enough for the speedrun coin. Then I continued my crime spree in the trolley problem, by making sure that the trolley ran over as many people as possible. I saved the cat though, that has to count for something. After saving the rich guy, and using my $500,000 award, I purchased the coin from the shop. The next coin was very easy. I dived down from the top of the submarine. I then found a key in a generic tower which removed some spikes blocking a coin. It was time to relax and take in the stunning scenery in the travel. This level looks absolutely beautiful. After experiencing some chill vibes and collecting 70 cotton balls, I unlocked a coin. My relaxation didn't last long as I now had to play normal levels. I was instantly thrown into the freezing cold and had to find all 20 white discs for a coin. Super Mario Bros. 1-1 was next, and I was shocked that I was playing basically another game in GD. For the first coin, I scored as many points as possible by collecting power-ups, grabbing Mario coins, and breaking bricks. Did you know that according to official Mario lore, these bricks are actually transformed toads? Yeah, I think I may have committed a war crime. Next, I had to channel my inner Cosmic and speedrun the level. By taking this underground shortcut, I saved a huge amount of time and managed to clutch out the second coin. And finally, I found the secret 1-up mushroom for the third coin before being thrown into jail. It was pretty tricky to break out, as it was composed of 9 mini escape rooms, where 1 coin was a freebie. I avoided moving a ladder too far for the next one, and was fast enough for the last speedrun coin. I stumbled upon an abandoned jungle temple which had pretty complicated coins. First, I traversed a maze, looted 2 gems, and grabbed a key that will be useful later. There was also this crack in the ceiling that sure enough led to a coin. I found this parkour death trap and platformed my way to the 3rd gem. I met a captive who had to eat their arms and legs to survive. How violent. Anyways, I used the key from earlier to rescue them in exchange for a coin. Then I found this gigantic clock and patiently waited for the final gem. With these 4 gems, I was able to unlock a sick looking cutscene and the final coin. Suddenly, Minecraft. So I made some basic tools and mined out the first coin. Eventually I journeyed all the way to the stronghold and spotted a coin hiding in the corner of the portal room. After entering the end island, I reached the outskirts and snatched the last coin. Continuing my treasure hunt, I looked for all 45 toy ducks and find the Wubba Docks, and was rewarded 3 coins for my efforts. My favorite zones here were the Cheese Land and the Corrupted Landscape. Other than that, this level was pretty generic. Moving on to Jumpy Junjo, that is not a typo, but let's just ignore that. And after riding the moving platforms and adjusting the seesaws, I breezed through the level and found all 50 gold coins. Some of them were especially tricky to find, such as the coins inside this pit and this secret hidden area near the end of the level. I was luckily fast enough to collect the speedrun coin. Then I went high up into Sky Platformer, and I have to say, this creator makes stunning visuals where I can relax, take a breather, and of course collect all the gold pieces for a coin. But that break wouldn't last long, as I was required to ramp up to 4 moon hard levels. Next up was Touch the Spikes, where I had to steal a coin from a disabled child. Yep, that's the plot of this level. After the level guilt trips me and tells me that Robert has lost faith in the world, I awkwardly transition to the next challenge. Feeling bad, I decided to help the residents of Mythical Valley with their problems. I even launched myself out of a cannon towards some cheese, and then fed it to what might as well be the stuff of my nightmares.
Thank you.
The other coin was tricky, as I had to hitch a ride on this blue mushroom, then complete a platforming challenge, while wind constantly pushed me back. Finally, I donated $20 to Toad for the last coin, but this axolotl did not appreciate my effort.
Come back when you've got the coin.
How rude! My time in 4 moons came to an abrupt end, and I had to switch to 5 moons. The first 2 coins in the first 5 moon level were pretty straightforward, with one visible at the start of the level and the other behind a short ball challenge. The third coin, however, required collecting all these mutant creatures. Honestly, I don't know what they are, and I don't want to know, so I hightailed out of there, and ended up in the depths of the deep blue. No, not that one. For the first coin I went left. That's literally the coin. I go left. It's pretty impressive. Anyways, after exploring the ocean floor, I dove further down and grabbed this coin on the left side. Unfortunately, I woke up an ocean monster that I luckily managed to outrun and used its lantern orb to leap through the final coin. This is somehow the only rated platformer level named the Tower. The coins in the level were confusing as hell, as 2 of them only appeared after completing the shaky can ball section, which was really annoying. One coin appears at the very beginning, and the second coin is accessible after pressing a button which unlocks a few platforms. However, it took me a while to find the last coin, as it was a completely unindicated Deathless challenge. This level was not fun. Hopefully the next levels were fun, as it was time for a difficulty increase to 6 moons. I had to channel my inner speed demon and complete the minigame Speedster, fast enough for a coin, the first extremely hard one in the challenge. The controls took a while to get used to, but my main strat was to avoid slowing down as much as possible, and every time I reached the top right of the track, I floored it until the next lap. I then found myself in prison again, which had a coin that was quite complicated. I had to pull a lever in this completely unindicated wall. God, I wish people stopped doing this. Then I activated a 10-second timer and scrammed to a second lever. After sneaking behind a guard to pull a third lever, I unlocked the last coin and broke out of jail again. Icy climbing gives you the first coin for free. The next one was a bit trickier, as I had to evade these shifting spikes and collect all 4 hearts in these claustrophobic corridors. The last coin, however, I had to dodge a million fireballs while keeping my eyes on the prize. I went retro in Glitch Room, which had your standard mini coins coin, where the only challenging collectible was in room 14. There were many consecutive tight drops and falls. The hardest part, however, was that the background was very distracting. After entering the level a second time, since I didn't need to recollect the room 14 silver piece, I was easily able to shave enough time off for the speedrun coin. The wheels keep spinning, however, and decided I'd have to play 7 moons and start beyond the forest. And boy, these coins were not fun. One of them required activating a torch near the first checkpoint of the level, backtracking to the start, backtracking again to the torch, and making it to the second checkpoint without a single death. It was extremely tedious. The other one required 4 collectibles, and while most of them were straightforward, I had to fall down a completely random pit for one of them. F-tier coin design. The ball coin was fine, as you had to spot a yellow bounce pad that signified there was something special located further upwards. Okay, this is so rigged. I only got to play one 7 Moon before switching to insane levels. Fireboard Fortress is a level with your standard Rob Top coins. Once where you collect all mini coins, collect all hidden blue coins, and earn a speedrun coin, which is always easier once you don't have to look for hidden trinkets. I especially liked these stone chickens chasing you around in the level. They look so goofy. Oh come on, what is this RNG? 2 times in a row I had to increase the difficulty after a single level. Anyways, it's 9 Moon time. Space Crawlers had a coin in a bonus room, and even though it had a ton of moving parts, I was able to breeze through it. Next, I was literally trapped in Rob's basement and had to survive both his and the Viper's attacks on the highest difficulty for a coin. Yep, that's actually a level. I'd constantly use the cameras to observe Robert Top games. Whenever he was close to the basement, I prepared to lock the doors at a moment's notice. Whenever a Viper was too close to the vents, I would electrocute him. However, closing the doors drains battery life, so whenever I was too low on charge, I pulled a lever that has the drawback of disabling all power for a while, but also has the benefit of recharging all my battery. I usually timed this action right after Rob Top left, as that would minimize the chances of him capturing me. The next coin was far less stressful, and it granted me the power to freeze time. Reaching this coin was especially cool, as it was a puzzle on how to stop falling platforms. But now it's time for our first Just Shapes and Beats level in GD. In this level, I can move in any direction as a square, and also have to dodge obstacles that appear in rhythm to the music. I'm also granted a dash ability that doubles as a short period of invincibility. The coins for merely beating the level and using 0 dashes were pretty easy. I had 2 problem areas for the damageless coin though. The one where wind drags me downwards, and the final segment where I had a bazillion bullets to keep track of. Eventually I managed to pull through and win a coin. Then I ventured in the trippy lands of What is a Platform. These block designs are mesmerizing. I found a coin room after dropping through the first pit of the Rob drawer room. After reaching Henry's room, I saw a coin that was impossible to grab but had a nifty solution. By traversing to a close by room, flipping my gravity with the ball and retracing my steps, I stole all of Henry's riches. It's not my fault he left it outside, and luckily the last coin was completely free. Then I was thrown into the horror of its chases. The first 2 coins were pretty straightforward. One was tucked away in a tight corridor, and the other one was easily collectible while ascending the tower. The last coin was especially neat since you see it outside the tower on your way up, and then remember to collect it while falling down. This coin in Skeletal Dungeon was tricky as this pillar, looking like a solid block, blended in. I, however, saw through its scheme, performed a few precise lineups, and snatched the coin. Casual Cube was rather interesting, as I could not move backwards in the level, so I carefully planned a route for the coin. And it was finally time that the universe decided that I had to play Easy Demons. Luckily I wrote the easiest Easy Demon. The first coin in Mithrilian was pretty scary as I had to dodge these fast moving spike platforms. Then this coin was behind a straight flight challenge. The collectibles coin was pretty trivial and pretty easy. We're now really playing Minecraft with this 3D platformer. For this coin, I had to learn unforgiving camera controls and perform a speedrun 11 frames within the world record. It took so long. Strafing left and right lost time, compared to adjusting the camera and moving along a diagonal path. Simply turning the camera to a slightly wrong angle by a few degrees could end the entire run, making this absolutely brutal. Spin bounce zones controls were rather finicky to adjust to, as I was constantly bouncing around. Learning how to rotate the correct amount and how to preserve the right momentum, I trick-shotted to all 3 coins. Here's a quick montage. And it's that time again, a difficulty increase to medium demons. For this coin, I had to memorize the entire layout of a room as all the obstacles became invisible after 3 seconds. The invisible corner jump next to a spike was especially tough. I then infiltrated Rob's headquarters and snatched a coin from the swingcopter room. I unleashed my inner Tarzan in Jungle Swing and spotted all 3 gems/coins that were hidden behind some shrubs. The ending sequence of the level was one of the best segments I've ever played, as it was a high-stakes chase featuring a mechanical dragon. Next was Swing Cubiter, a challenging minigame where I constantly alternated between 2 different ways of moving throughout the level. However, if the cube touched anything, I would die. I learned that by double-clicking when the white pivot was rotating and 45 degrees clockwise from the direction I wanted the cube to move, I could move perfectly in that direction. After several grueling attempts, I completed the whole level Deathless in a 13-minute run for a coin. After that intense challenge, the universe decided to spite me and make me play hard demons, and I was thrown into a level where I had to play Geometry Dash and Five Nights at Freddy's at the same time. For the next few coins, I became a famous YouTuber who was bombarded by stalkers. Speaking of which, if you would like to help me become a famous YouTuber, please subscribe. This level is especially tricky since I had to defend my home while playing Geometry Dash. I had to turn off the light whenever the orange fan appeared, but turn it on whenever the pink fan appeared. And I'm not joking when I'm saying the hardest part was that because orange and yellow were similar colors, I kept turning the light on for the orange fan. I swear this wasn't a skill issue. There was also a green fan I had to scare off and look out for using the back window. For the coin, I played the hill climbing challenge on max difficulty. Watching out for all these trespassers while playing the extra night was extremely nerve-wracking, as I was rapidly switching back and forth between precise platforming and fast-paced defensive gameplay. Luckily, each fan had a different sound cue, and by listening carefully, I survived until the police came and arrested the trespassers. This coin required 6 purple pennies, and these are the 3 most interesting ones. The 3rd plate required me to walk over here to toggle an invisible trigger so I could climb up further. I am very confused. For the 5th plate, I tried jumping over this slope over and over again. Eventually, I figured out that through taking a detour and jumping from this block, it was easier to reach. I was able to use my raw skill for the 6th purple piece. Then the user coin decided to nosedive underground. I don't think it's coming back. Anyways, after actually collecting the coin, I found the first coin in Industrial pretty easy. It was a few basic jumps. The second coin was a different story, as I had to time a jump so that this block's upwards momentum would amplify my jump height. Immediately after, I had to successfully land right next to a spike. Luckily, it all worked out in the end. Unluckily for me, the Wheels of Fate decided I'd have to play Insane Demons. Chromoside is a fast-paced click pattern level, where the level gives you the coin for free. Just don't mention that I died to the last triple spike of the level around 29 times. Shapeshifter was a really interesting level, as there were gates that would only deactivate if I swapped to certain shapes. The first coin was grabbed after a really awkward feeling jump. Then the second coin used the core gimmick to create a couple of finicky timings. For the third coin, I activated challenge mode, which buffed the very last jump of the level from a single spike to a triple spike. I know it's very intense for reasons we won't mention. You know what's more intense? The orangey god slapping me in the face and deciding I have to play Extreme Demons for the last 10 coins. Entrenched was pretty tough as it had spikes at every corner. The coin was at the end of a parkour section, and the level straight up lies to you where the prize is. It turns out that the coin is actually to the right. I will never financially recover from this. The next coin was absolutely brutal. In Hypergravitron, I have to constantly make quick decisions to deal with projectiles spawning from both sides of the screen. The coin requires 4 minutes of on-point gameplay. In the end, I somehow survived over 5 minutes and felt completely exhausted afterwards. Soon after, I experienced double vision in Ice Climbers, where I can control 2 icons at once. The other main problem with this level was that once the screen scrolls up far enough, The bottom layer acts like a death pit. Each mountain had a coin where I had to collect 4 food items while under pressure from a timer. Mountain 1's coin was pretty tough as I had to perform mirror inputs to jump on and off of moving platforms. For one of them, I looked at a background tile to see if it was flickering, as that indicated it was there. Collecting all 4 fruits was trivial compared to the moving platforms. Mountain 2's coin was basically a puzzle where I learned where to scroll the screen, where it was safe to stay put, and how to collect the fruit. For this fruit, I hit the ceiling to avoid jumping into a tight gap by lining up the fruit and cube hitbox. The next 2 fruits required a couple of precise jumps. The last fruit required an interesting strategy. I held down jump for one of the cubes to nullify the effect of the conveyor belt and collected the last fruit with the other cube. Mountain 3's coin was pretty intense because that was where the time limit really mattered. After collecting the first meat, I positioned my red cube to play jump rope with these 2 saws. Then I took control of the blue cube and led it to safety. This part is especially tough since I had to fit through a 1-block gap with both cubes while this bird is scouting back and forth. It destroyed me so many times. After collecting the 3rd meat with the red cube, I hold jump to nullify the conveyor belt again, then collect the last meat with the blue cube, and then it's just a few more jumps to victory. Even though I was in the icy mountains, this level absolutely melted my brain. So of course, I rode one of the most intensive levels, Beat Pulse, where I had to rapidly speedrun every room under a tight time limit. Usually the last room is optional, but not if I wanted the coin. Eventually, after several grueling attempts, I reached the coin. Oh, apparently you're punished with an extra spike timing if you play too fast. Out of petty spite, after collecting the coin, I gave the level a dislike. The last level was Tower of Infinity, your standard Needle-style platformer, and thankfully this is the Extreme Demon with the easiest coins. The first one required a couple of simple jumps, then I collected a key in the storage zone, ascended the tower, and picked a lock in the UFO zone. Well, that was anticlimactic, but it was definitely a nice break, so I won't complain too much. And that is how I collected 100 coins in Geometry Dash Platformer mode, and was finally free from this challenge. Thank you for watching this journey, and this video took a while to make, so if you want to help YouTube push this out to more people, please like, comment, and subscribe.